the stories we were telling on screen were mirroring what we were, right from the original concept. Um, it was an ensemble series about like college kids and in college and their experience. And as we're working together, and I'm taking it all in, I'm also starting to write even more of stuff that I'm seeing and hearing, and feeling into the show, right? so, so that was very interesting. So we're just continuing on. In sometime in 2007, I believe, we found out that Spike Lee was doing a lecture at Florida State, and this might have been 2006, and he was on tour for a documentary he was doing. I think it was one he was doing on Hurricane Katrina. He was on a lecture tour, and he was stopping at Florida State, and we decided to go to hear him and get tickets and everything. A lot of us from the production, and that was that was like a highlight in my career. Going to that lecture, listening to him. We were sitting near the front, and we had t-shirts made that said our project name on it. They were red, and we wore those shirts to the lecture, and we were sitting kind of up front. We were like in like the second or third row from the stage, and in Ruby Diamond Auditorium on FSU's campus. And during the question and answer portion, Spike Lee, we had kind of devised a plan going into this lecture, right? Because we were just trying to get Spike Lee's attention. And I had tried outside of prior to the lecture, because one of our actresses was on the student government that brought Spike Lee to our school. I tried to get like a meeting with him prior, or even slide him our demo reel about the show, but I couldn't get it to happen. So we were like, okay, we're just gonna try to see if we can make something happen at the lecture. So when the Q&A came around, I think we had decided that Jared was going to go up and like ask a question or whatever, and that's how it was gonna be him, right? Because I had gotten very comfortable, because I had so much to do as we were producing this project, and I liked having a partner. Like, I really liked having a partner. It was an amazing thing. It's like, I like having partners in this creative life. It can be a really amazing and beautiful thing, especially when it came to the support aspect. Nowhere was I thinking or aware that I could choose a partner that, maybe wasn't pulling their weight, or wasn't, maybe at my level to work with me, and the level that I'm trying to work at and where I'm trying to go. And I never thought that I could choose a partner that didn't have the same intentions as me, so of course these were themes that played out, over my experience in this experience. And so anyway, we had devised a plan. So we're at the lecture, we get to the Q&A part, and I remember Jared says to me, he was sitting next to me, and he says, okay, I'm gonna go up with my question. And I said, well, I think I might have a question, but you go up first, and then if I have a question, I'll join the line. And he's like, cool. So he goes up, he gets in the line that's forming right at the floor of the stage, right? And there's a microphone. And so, I'm sitting there, and we're watching each person ask their questions to Spike. He's on stage with the microphone. And it had been a really good night, so far. Like, I had really enjoyed. It gets to the point where Jared is like the third person from the mic, right, in the line. and he signals to me, and he's like, come stand with me, right? So I was like, okay. And so I get up, I go stand with him in line, and then next thing I know, some sort of way, like we get up to the mic, and it's me at the mic, right? And I'm just like, okay, he navigated this, but okay, fine. I could totally, I'm totally up for this, but at that time I wasn't the one trying to push myself, meaning I wasn't trying to push myself to the forefront. I just felt like I didn't have to lead my production that way, where it was always about me and my face, and I needed to be at the forefront of things. I was trying to share. That's what I believed in. That's the approach that I've always had. And since I had Jared as a partner, I was like, you can be the face of us. I'm completely fine with that. I got enough to do back here. If I don't have to worry about that element as well, that's great. So I was perfectly fine with him being the one that talked to Spike at the mic, but he navigated it, so it was me. And so I remember getting to the mic, and I had become a little emotional during the lecture because Spike Lee at one point talked about how, in the journey as a creative, sometimes you don't have the support in your life, like family and stuff like that. And at that time, my family wasn't that supportive of me trying to do this filmmaking thing. And so I was in Tallahassee, away from home, and I was doing this big, ambitious project. And at that time, I didn't feel like I had the support of my family. And I remember getting emotional during the lecture when it came to that part. But anyway, so I'm at the mic, and I devised a question to ask Spike. And somehow, I don't remember what the question was, but I'm sure it was some sort of segue for Spike to ask us, is that why you're wearing those shirts? Right? I think I asked something about independent film and black dramas or something. I don't know what it was. And I wish that this was in the era of camera phones and stuff, because I'm sure we would have got footage of it, but that stuff didn't exist back then. And so so Spike's like, why are you guys wearing those shirts? And I'm like, oh, well, we are currently producing an independent, black drama series about college life. And as I'm talking about it, Spike's like intrigued, and he's like, tell me more. On stage, he's like, tell me more. So he's like asking follow-up questions at the mic, when everybody else was like, they ask a question, he answers, and then he goes to the next person. But with me, he's asking follow-ups. And then as he's doing it, and he's getting more like intrigued and probably a little confused, the audience in the auditorium is like getting more energetic, because they can kind of see what's happening as well. And then at some point, he actually asked us, like, he asked me to talk about the show. What is it about? What are y'all doing? And what topics are y'all talking about? And he was just floored that we were talking about such serious topics in our drama series, and we're a bunch of college students, right? And so then he finally says, well, I want to see it. I want to see it. Do you have a copy of it? At that point, I remember Jared gesturing to somebody that was sitting, one of our actors that was sitting in our where we were sitting in our seats. And I had a laptop case that I used to always walk around with, and I would keep DVDs of like, reels of the show, or even like samples when I would transfer our edited footage onto like DVDs, and I would give my actors copies so we could see how the scenes were coming out and all that stuff. So I always had that in my DVD case. So I remember Jared, he gestured to somebody to pass my laptop case to him. He dug inside my laptop case. He found the DVD that I already had brought ready for this lecture to somehow get it to Spike. And I just remember him taking out the CD case with the DVD in it and sliding it across the stage to Spike Lee's feet, right? And Spike Lee picks up the DVD and he says, I'm gonna watch this tonight. And when he did that, the whole auditorium like erupted and like roaring and applause and all that. And it was just a very like kind of like an out of body moment for me. It was crazy. It was crazy. And I remember everybody's cheering and we felt victorious, you know. And I remember when the lecture wrapped and there was still so much energy because pretty much the lecture was over at that point. And I remember we were leaving, we were walking out of the auditorium and everybody's like congratulating us and patting us on the back and coming up and talking to us and all that stuff. And I remember a reporter was there that night and she said, I'm going to write about this. It'll be in the paper tomorrow. And it was in the paper. We were just on cloud nine that night. And we went, I remember going over to some of the actors' houses and telling them, the ones that didn't attend the lecture, and telling them how it went, and they were so excited. And everybody, once word spread that we had that experience that night amongst our casting crew, like everybody was like excited because we thought that this meant that we were about to go to the next level of whatever this is that we're doing, right? And it's one of my favorite memories of my career. One of my favorite memories. Anyway, that nothing transpired from that, by the way. Afterwards, we ended up sending a press kit of our show to Spike Lee's office in Fort Greene. The week after that lecture, just so that he, you know, wouldn't forget about us, you know, because he did say he was going to watch it. And we actually I believed that he was going to, and I believed that he was going to call because I felt like our show was good. But he didn't call, and that was a letdown. Like I remember waiting for like a week, then another week, and then another week, and another week, and then I realized, he's not gonna call. Like he probably didn't watch it, and that was when I realized that moment for Spike was probably just one of those like feel good moments that wasn't like real for him. You know what I mean? And that's how I internalized it. And it was like my first lesson in realizing that your idols, because at that point Spike Lee was he was like probably my number one like filmmaking idol at that time, and with like John Singleton being number 2 and Lee Daniels being number 3, because Lee Daniels had produced Monsters Ball with Halle Berry, and so I presumed that he was just such a great person and whatever because of that. But with that Spike Lee experience, I think I definitely started entertaining the idea that, you know, that like celebrities and like our idols, you know, they just may not be who we think they are, you know, regardless of how they present to you, you know. And it was also an indicator of, you know, maybe it was like an early sign of how the industry goes, you know. And if you're in the entertainment industry, then you understand that you understand things like, you know, industry talk, and, you know, people say things all the time that they don't really mean, you know. And so that was my first like encounter with that, and it stuck with me. And it readied me for the future, you know, because that was going to happen over and over and over again over the course of my career.